Yes, Spurs can guarantee survival at the expense of West Ham United on Sunday with a win, whilst a point would almost certainly be enough because of their superior goal difference. However, lose and the door is very much open for Nuno Espirito de Santo's side to escape. Chris Cowlin from Spurs Chat joins us right now. Chris, how are you feeling?
Dan, yeah, feeling a little bit nervous actually ahead of this game on Sunday. I don't know whether Tottenham are going to get the job done against Everton or whether Leeds will get the job done against West Ham, but as long as one of them win, we'll get over the line.
It's your home form that would make me a bit 5p, 50p. You know what I mean? I feel like you what's the opposite to a fortress? A ditch in the ground?
Yeah, it's been a big problem. Only 2 league wins in the Premier League all season, and that was at home against Burnley on the opening weekend. And the last time we won there in the Premier League was against Brentford back in December, and it has been a big issue for us under Thomas Frank, under Igor Tudor. And, we've picked up 2 draws in the 2 games that Roberto De Zerbi has managed at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but it has been a big problem. But we need to put all these problems behind us. And like De Zerbi said after the Chelsea game, this is, the biggest game in our recent history. And this is such a huge game. The crowd have been absolutely brilliant despite a really poor season. And I'm sure that they'll be behind the team again on Sunday. But yeah, the players have underperformed this season, and they must give absolutely everything, and we must get over the line. And as you said in the intro there, we only need a draw. We only need a draw. We just need 1 point. So let's hope the Spurs can get over the line because this season has been really tough for us.
You've got a terrible record against Chelsea, and I know you two like playing each other. We all remember the Battle of Stamford Bridge, but yeah, that record really came through on Tuesday night. Does it mean more to them than it does to you?
I don't know about that, but we certainly travel there. It's absolutely ridiculous record, as you said. 1 win in 36 years. You need to go back to the Gary Lineker days, early 90s, and then that 1 win in 36 years was 2018 under Pochettino. But every single time I go there, it's a place I absolutely hate. The fans absolutely despise us. There is a real rivalry there, and as you mentioned, 10 years ago we were going for the Premier League, and 10 years later, you've seen what Leicester have done, and you've now seen, where Tottenham are. So, in these 10 years, it's been a bit of a disaster. But when you look at, 1 year ago today, we were in Bilbao celebrating a Europa League win against Manchester United. So football can change very, very quickly. But yeah, going back to your question about, Chelsea away, it's just one of those places we don't travel well. Anfield is another one. Arsenal is another one. And if Spurs want to get back to being a top club, you've got to win these games. You've got to go there with belief and confidence. But that's one thing that I do hold on to. Since Roberto De Zerbi has come in, he's managed 6 games for us in the Premier League. We've won 2, we've drawn 2, and we've lost 2. And without him, we wouldn't be in this position on the final day of the season. I think that's very fair to say because the times under Thomas Frank and Igor Tudor, that 44-day stint under Tudor was a waste of time. And De Zerbi has brought confidence and belief into some of these players, and that's what I hold hope onto. But if Spurs do get over the line and we are a Premier League team next year, then a lot of things on the pitch and off the pitch need to change at the football club because this is the second time running where we are 17th in the Premier League table, so it's not good enough.
Well, it's just been a really tough season. I mean, Tuesday night as well. I mean, sticking with your beloved rivals, Arsenal winning the league on the same night you're losing to Chelsea as well. Where does that night rank for Spurs fans?
Yeah, it's pretty tough, Dan. It's pretty tough. It really is. But our North London rivals at the moment, they're miles ahead of us, and it's very fair to say. I hate saying it, and when you look at all of our big rivals in London, Spurs are behind, and like I said, major things need to change. But yeah, it was tough on Tuesday, not only losing the game, but of course hearing that news and with Manchester City score. So a very tough night.
Do you feel like it's a mentality problem, or like how many of Spurs' problems are between the ears? For example, you got Mathis Tel scoring a worldie and then making that howler moments later against Leeds.
Yeah, I think mentality has been a real issue in recent years. You go back to the Pochettino days, when it was super entertaining football and everyone believed. I don't think there was a game actually under Pochettino. Whenever we went into the game, and whenever I'd come on to do interviews like this, you guys would say, "Oh, what do you think the score's going to be?" And I'd always say, "We're going to win." We'd always believe that we were going to win. And then, of course, we've gone, through so many different managers, and every single time, and I think this has been a big problem as well. Every single time that a top player has left our football club, a player that has been brought in, and I mean this respectfully as well, it has been a downgrade. It hasn't been an upgrade. And this has been the big problem with transfer windows. I could talk to you all day about transfer windows, and I know a lot of football fans, no matter what team we all support, we all say that boards and owners can do more. But when you're a top team, or meant to be a top team, going for trophies and wanting to fight on all fronts, because a year ago today, Ange Postecoglou won us a trophy. First time in many, many years. First European trophy in 41 years at the club. Mm-hmm. And then, a couple of weeks later, we sacked him. And, look where we are now. Could it have been better with a season 3 under Ange? Who knows? But mentality, Roberto De Zerbi is really big on mentality, and he has come in and given these players belief, and he's basically said to them, look, you've got to believe how good you are, you've got to believe that we can win football matches. And injuries have been such a big problem as well. You talk about mentality, but injuries have been a real big issue this season under multiple managers, and it was a big issue last season as well, so that is something else that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I agree. There's something going on there on the training pitch as well. But I tell you what, you mentioned De Zerbi earlier. Let's hear from him ahead of what could be the biggest game of his managerial career.
I have to work in the same way. I think we are playing well. We are fighting in the right way, with the right spirit, with the right mentality. And then if we stay like this on the table, it's because we have had many problems this season. And together we have to fight until the end. When the other stop, we have to go forward another step.
He's already said he's going to be sticking around if the worst happens. Is he the guy to take you straight back up? Because obviously that would be job one, wouldn't it?
Well, I hope that's not the case. I hope that we are a Premier League team come Sunday evening. But like I said before, we only need a point against Everton. So it is in our hands. Avoid defeat at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and we won't be talking about Championship football, or indeed Leeds go to West Ham. In January, Spurs were 13 points ahead of West Ham. And, a lot of Spurs fans were thinking, it was a poor season, but we're not going to be anywhere near the relegation zone. And then, of course, West Ham picked up a lot of points. Spurs slumped to a lot of defeats during that period of time. And, it's gone now to the final day of the season, which I really had hoped not to happen. But yeah, I think a lot of us Spurs fans now in these last few weeks have been looking at, what's it like in the Championship, and when do we enter, the Carabao Cup, and when do we enter the FA Cup, and what's this and what's that, and what are these stadiums like, and why are Lincoln singing about us every week? And yes, honestly, it's a situation we really didn't want to be in.
Well, I tell you what, we'll talk about that in a bit. But, I mean, fundamentally, how does this club transform itself into one that sees winning as a habit and rather than luxury? Because I think it's a change in mentality now. I think something needs to shift. I think, I don't want to use terms like it's rotten to the core, upstairs and down, and they've not rebuilt after Levy and all the rest of it. But there's something in there, isn't there?
Yeah, I completely agree. And like I said earlier, I think that football can change very, very quickly. So within, a small amount of time, suddenly you can be cheering again. Suddenly you can be winning football matches on a consistent basis again. And I think that will be the case under Roberto De Zerbi. I really like his management style. I really like the way that he deals with players, talks to players, brings that belief not only to the players but to the fans as well. And I think that he will bring really exciting football as well next year, despite what division we will be in. So I do have a lot of belief in the manager. But the thing that really does need to change is the transfer windows, the backing of managers. Like I said, we've gone through so many different managers. You go back to 2019 of Pochettino saying, you have this wonderful mansion, but you need to put the furniture in it. We are still in that position. So, Spurs want to be going for trophies. And the thing that they said when they sacked Ange Postecoglou just over a year ago was, we need to fight on all fronts. And we haven't been able to fight on all fronts. We're down in 17th again, fighting relegation on the final day of the season. So, from a fan's point of view, this simply isn't good enough, and it isn't what we were told it was going to be like. And that stadium was meant to be a game changer as well. So in terms of transfers, they need to be a lot better.
How important are the crowd for this weekend? It got to do their bit, right?
Of course, but I think it's also fair to say, Dan, that we've done our bit all season, and it's now down to the players. The players have to deliver. The players have to put in every challenge like their life depends on it. I know some people will probably be thinking about the World Cup, in a couple of weeks' time, but this game is absolutely huge. Probably one of the biggest games in our history to keep us in the Premier League, because I think everyone, non-Spurs fans would love to see Spurs go down, and I just hope that this team deliver on Sunday afternoon.
Let's see how it pans out. In just a moment, we'll head to You Tell Me, but don't forget that Sky Sports is the home of the EFL with over 1,000 live matches. Stream Sky Sports coverage of the EFL on now. 18 plus, stream via internet. Terms apply.
Stay ahead of the game on talkSPORT 2 with Sky Sports, the home of the EFL with over 1,000 live matches. Stream Sky Sports coverage of the EFL on now.
But right now, it's time for this.
Tell me why.
Where do you want to start? They aren't good enough, and it's not right.
Tell me why.
I don't care who I upset when I say that. It's pathetic.
Tell me why.
Tell me how I go about doing it. You tell me how I go about doing it.
Everybody sat at home on a sofa, eating some Doritos.
It can't go on like this, can it?
It can.
Yes, it's time for our regular slot. You Tell Me, a sly nod to that classic manager's comeback when the questions get a bit too tricky. Today we're asking the question, could relegation be good for the Spurs, giving them the best chance to rebuild and get rid of any dead weight? Now, this is one of those questions that constantly comes around when relegation looms, Chris. Do you feel like it's something that the club needs, or are we talking nonsense?
No, absolutely not. When I look at that championship table, I think it's only 4 clubs that are not an ex-Premier League team. And I think when some of these clubs have gone down in previous years, I think a lot of the fan bases think, oh, it's okay, we'll come straight back up and we'll bounce back, immediately. That doesn't happen. And, teams could be down there for 20, 30 years before returning. So absolutely not. Spurs need to remain a Premier League team. I know a lot of people are wishing Tottenham to go down, but that fan base hopefully should be rocking at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday as per usual, and I just hope that we get over the line.
So how do you get rid of that dead weight? How do you get that fresh start? Because as it stands, right, you've got players that nobody wants. You've got you're struggling to spend money on any good players. I mean, it's a tough time for Spurs right now, and I don't think it's going to change over the summer, is it?
Well, I think it will, and it has to. It really does. And that Mick McCarthy comment there, it can't go on like this. I think I've said that so many times this season, and people then muck around and say, well, it can, but it can't. It really can't. In the summer window has to be absolutely huge for Tottenham. And I don't mean just by going out and spending hundreds of £1 million. I mean like really good decisions, good recruitment, etc. That's something that really does need to change. And as I mentioned and touched on is the injury record as well. The physio staff, the medical staff, that all needs to change as well. So it is an absolutely huge summer for Tottenham. And I've no doubt they wanted to start on the transfer window before the summer even started. But how can you when you're in this position on the final day of the season? But to answer your question, that it has to change. Major changes must be made in the summer to take this club forward again, because finishing 17th, if it is the case on Sunday, 2 seasons in a row is not good enough. People pay a lot of money for season tickets, and I know a lot of people who pay £1,000 for a season ticket every year, and so far we've won 2 home games. So that's £500 a win, and it's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Chris Cowlin, Spurs Chat Podcast. Thanks a lot, pal.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.